Hello again, literature lovers. Welcome back to our deep dive into Shakespeare's Macbeth. In our last video, we left off at the end of Act 3. Macbeth, now the tyrannical king of Scotland, has murdered King Duncan and his supposed best friend, Banquo. He's haunted by Banquo's ghost and is spiraling deeper into paranoia. If you missed that, go check it out. Now let's plunge into the thrilling and tragic conclusion, Acts 4 and 5. So what's a paranoid tyrant to do? Macbeth decides he needs more prophecies. He goes back to the three witches, demanding answers about his future. They conjure up three apparitions for him. The first is an armed head that warns him to beware Macduff. Okay, noted. The second is a bloody child who tells him that none of woman born shall harm Macbeth. This makes Macbeth feel pretty invincible. I mean, everyone is born from a woman, right? The third apparition is a crowned child holding a tree, who says Macbeth will never be defeated until Great Birnam Wood comes to Dunsinane Hill. Macbeth scoffs at this. How can a forest possibly move? He's feeling overconfident, but then he makes a fatal mistake. He asks if Banquo's descendants will ever reign. The witches show him a vision of 8 kings, all looking like Banquo, with Banquo's ghost at the end, smiling. This infuriates Macbeth. When he hears that Macduff has fled to England to join forces with Malcolm, Duncan's rightful heir, Macbeth flies into a rage. In a horrifying act of pure cruelty, he sends murderers to Macduff's castle. They slaughter Lady Macduff and all of her children. It's a brutal, senseless act that shows Macbeth has lost all remaining humanity. He's no longer killing for ambition, but out of pure, spiteful rage. Meanwhile, in England, Macduff is trying to convince Malcolm to return to Scotland and reclaim the throne. At first, Malcolm is suspicious. He tests Macduff's loyalty by pretending to be a terrible, corrupt person, unfit to be king. He lists all these supposed vices he has. But Macduff's passionate grief and love for Scotland finally convince Malcolm that he is a true patriot. Macduff passes the test. Just then, Ross, another Scottish nobleman, arrives with the devastating news about Macduff's family. Macduff is utterly destroyed by grief, but Malcolm encourages him to turn that sorrow into anger. Let grief convert to anger. Blunt not the heart, enrage it, he says. Now they have a personal vendetta fueling their mission to overthrow Macbeth. Their army is ready to march on Scotland. Back at Macbeth's castle in Dunsinane, things are falling apart. Act 5 opens with one of the most famous scenes in all of literature. A doctor and a gentlewoman observe Lady Macbeth, who has been sleepwalking. She's desperately trying to wash imaginary bloodstains from her hands, crying out, "Out, damn spot, out I say." The guilt that Macbeth seems to have pushed aside has completely consumed her. She relives the murders of Duncan, Banquo, and Macduff's family in her sleep. The doctor can do nothing for her. Her illness is of the mind, not the body. It's a powerful look at the psychological toll of their terrible deeds. The Scottish lords have had enough of Macbeth's tyranny, and they begin to abandon him, joining Malcolm and Macduff's approaching English army. Macbeth, isolated in his castle, clings to the witches' prophecies. He feels invincible, believing no man born of a woman can harm him and that he's safe until a forest moves. He hears a cry from offstage and is told that Lady Macbeth is dead. His reaction is chillingly empty. He delivers his famous "tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow" speech, reflecting on the meaninglessness of life. It's a moment of profound nihilism from a man who has lost everything. Then, a messenger arrives with shocking news. Birnam Wood appears to be moving towards the castle. What's happening is that Malcolm's soldiers are camouflaging themselves with branches from the trees as they advance. The prophecy is coming true in a way Macbeth never imagined. His confidence shatters. He knows the end is near, but he decides to go down fighting. The final battle ensues. Macbeth fights with the ferocity of a cornered animal. He kills young Seward, but his end comes when he faces the man he was warned to beware, Macduff. Macbeth taunts him, boasting that he cannot be killed by anyone of woman born. But Macduff delivers the final, shocking twist. He reveals he was from his mother's womb untimely ripped. In modern terms, born by a cesarean section. He was not, in the conventional sense, born of a woman. Macbeth is stunned. The prophecies have tricked him with their double meanings. He's been played. He refuses to surrender and be displayed as a spectacle. They fight, and Macduff slays Macbeth. The play concludes with Macduff entering with Macbeth's head. He hails Malcolm as the new rightful king of Scotland. Malcolm promises to restore order and heal the nation, inviting everyone to his coronation. The reign of terror is over and balance is restored. And that's the tragic, bloody, and absolutely brilliant tale of Macbeth. Thank you so much for joining me for this journey through one of Shakespeare's greatest works. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next literary adventure. See you next time.